You want a security clearance. Maybe you think it'll increase your salary. Data has shown that just by having a security clearance, you can increase your salary by up to 20%. Or maybe you think it'll open up some more job possibilities for you. Less than 2% of the US population hold security clearances. And the reason isn't because they can't get one, it's because they don't need one. The main types are confidential, secret, and top secret clearance. The only reason you need a security clearance is to access classified documents. But even with a security clearance, let's say you have a top secret, that doesn't mean you can access all the classified information. You still need to have a need to know. You need to know that information, and that's the classified information you'll have access to. If you want a security clearance, two things need to be true. One, you need to be a US citizen. Two, you need to be sponsored by either a government agency or a qualified employer. What is a qualified employer? You can look at defense contracting companies, Booz Allen Hamilton, or Leidos, or you can look at AT&T, IBM. They also sponsor people for clearances. Most federal government jobs do not require a security clearance, but you can look and find out the jobs that do. If you jump on usajobs.gov, you can see that there are 150 jobs that require confidential, over 3,000 that require secret, and over 600 that require a top secret. Of course, this information is going to change every day. Tomorrow, it could be 700 jobs require top secret. Every day, it's going to be changing. Now, the thing with secret clearances in the government is you do not need to have a clearance to apply for these type of jobs. Not on usajobs.gov. You just need to make sure that you're eligible, that you're meeting the experience listed in the specialized experience area. If you're eligible, if you're qualified, if you're a highly qualified candidate and they select you, then they will spend the time and the money to do your investigation to get you the appropriate level clearance. What you will have to do is fill out an incredibly long document and spend a lot of time waiting on that security team to adjudicate whether or not you will receive it. So a couple of the downsides, you will be waiting a lot longer. The average time to hire in the federal government is about 4 to 6 months. Go ahead and bump that number up to 8, 9, 10 months. That's what you're going to be looking at. Now, hopefully, they can bring you in on an interim. If you have an interim clearance, that's given a lot quicker. Let's say they could be done in a few days, a few weeks, you can have that. Maybe they can have you start to work in your job. Maybe not, depending on the job that you're actually applying for. Some jobs will make you wait until you have the full-blown clearance before you do any work. Now, the second thing that I would consider a downside is you probably will not be able to telework as much. This is the nature of the job. You will need to be inside of a skiff when you're handling a lot of this classified information. You cannot do it at the kitchen table. You cannot do it on the comfort of your couch or your home office in the basement or whatever you have. So that's going to be a little bit of an obstacle. That's a little bit of a downside. Now, the document, the 130 plus page document, is another source of frustration a lot of people have. It's a bit easier nowadays with social media. You can go back in your history, as long as you have social media, and you can find out exactly what you were doing 7 years ago. For a secret clearance, it's like 7 years back. For top secret, it's 10 years back. So if you can remember what you were doing 10 years ago, that's going to be probably one of your biggest obstacles to make sure you're listing factual information based on where you were doing many years ago. I was speaking to a guy recently who was having issues with the background check. Now, his issue was he was born outside of the United States. He was born in a country that was part of the Soviet Union. Now, when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, his country gained independence. So his birth certificate is actually from the Soviet Union. Now, this raises some eyebrows, and agencies are going to feel like they need to do additional due diligence before they go ahead and just grant you the clearance. It could add weeks. On occasions, it could add months. Now, in his situation, everything was fine, and he was able to get the final job offer. Now, your situation, depending on how nuanced and how detailed it is, you could find yourself waiting a lot longer. So what type of government jobs require clearances the most? If you look on usajobs.gov on any day, usually the top one is information technology. The 2210 job series, they have over 200 jobs that usually require some sort of clearance. The next job is the inspection and the investigation job series. It's 1800. There's over 100 jobs here. And then there's the business industry 1100 job series with over 200 jobs. Most of these government jobs that require clearances, they're going to be in DoD, Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, and also the Department of Justice. Now, on the private sector side, you will find a lot of jobs that in the IT sector, right? So if you want to be an IT professional in the defense contracting world, you're going to need to have a clearance. any type of support that you're doing, if you're supporting a federal agency, there will be a clearance requirement. But let's say you get the clearance and then you leave the job. How long does the clearance stay active for? Well, the clearance is only active as long as you're doing the job. After that, it becomes inactive. Now, in theory, within 24 months later, you can be granted a clearance without going through reinvestigation. But let me tell you the reality of the situation. If you get a clearance at the Department of Defense and then you decide, I'm going to go ahead and jump agencies. Let me go to the Department of Justice. There's a high probability you're going to have to get reinvestigated because agencies like to do their own investigation. Is this time consuming? Does it waste a lot of resources? In my opinion, yes. You're probably thinking, yes, why do they do this? I don't know why they do this. They continue to do this. They just keep doing their own reinvestigations. You can have somebody in the military with a top secret clearance that comes out and joins the Department of Homeland Security. Do not be surprised if they want to reinvestigate your whole clearance once again. But if you find yourself a little turned off by how long you have to actually wait, like I said earlier, interim clearances, it's a thing a lot of people use. I would say thousands of jobs use them. In my situation once, I actually was granted an interim security clearance. It was a secret clearance. And I had it, it probably took, let's say, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I was able to get it. And then all of a sudden, they allowed me to start managing a lot of that classified information. So it's definitely possible. But I would say if you're targeting a job, if it's a promotion opportunity, if it's going to advance your career, if you feel drawn to its mission, go ahead and apply to it. Do not let whether the job has a clearance or not be the only determining factor whether or not you're going to apply. The more you apply, the more options you will have. But it all starts with your resume. Make sure your resume is really strong. All right, if you're wondering if you go through the whole process, it takes longer, it's a little bit more painful. What are the benefits? How much could you be earning? How much are people earning with top secret clearances? How much are they actually pulling in? If you want to know that information, I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.